All right, what's up, everybody? Steven here, the Horror Freak 85. Just figured give it a minute to go ahead and start up the stream here, get a couple faces in here. Excuse me. Miss Boomstick will be joining very shortly, just taking the dog out for a walk, so she should be here in just a couple of minutes or so. And tonight we will be discussing the Hatchet series and Victor Crowley, which, of course, Adam Green created. He wrote it, directed all four of the films. So we'll be talking about each one of those. And there will be spoilers. So if you haven't seen them, you might not want to listen too much, or you can check out the replay later. So yeah, it's gonna be a fun night. If you haven't seen the Hatchet series, definitely worth checking out. I've talked about Adam Green before. He's also him and Joe Lynch, who directed Wrong Turn 2 and Knights of Badassdom, among some other things. There's a TV show that they're in now. Well, it ended, but you can find it now on Shudder, and that, of course, is Holliston, which has had a lot of Adam's actors from Hatchet, well, a couple of them, make guest appearance on, such as Kane Hodder, who we all know as Jason, and Victor Crowley. He guest starred on a couple episodes of Holliston. Danielle Harris is another one from Hatchet. It took me a second. I'm like, oh, yes, we are talking about Hatchet. So yeah, that was a really funny episode. So if you haven't checked those out, definitely, if you got Shudder, or you can even buy the DVDs or Blu-rays online if you get a chance to get them. If you order through Ariscope, Adam's website, I think he still may have them signed. I know he'll send a signed copy out. I haven't been to his site in a while, so I'm assuming he still does that. I'm not really sure. I haven't been to the website in a while, but I know at the time he was selling season sign, also Holliston comic books. I haven't gotten it, which I kind of wish I had. I'm sure they're still available somewhere. There are the Hatchet comic books, as well as the Holliston comic books. So those are available on his website. He did Frozen, not the Let It Go, the ski lift. Yes, Let It Go was terrifying. Heard it so many times, but that's the ski lift movie. So I'm trying to think what else. If there was anyone else from Hatchet. Oh, Sid Haig, or Haig, rest in peace. He was in an episode of Holliston. He plays. We'll get to it later on, but he is in Victor Crowley. He plays a role in that. So let's see who else was in. Oh, of course, Laura Ortiz. She's in Victor Crowley, and she plays Laura in Holliston. So she had a really funny role. Once we start discussing the Hatchet films, I'll talk a little bit more about her role in Victor Crowley. But we will be discussing them in chronological order: Hatchet 1, 2, 3, and then Victor Crowley, which is the fourth one, which I know when he first showed it, probably shows on YouTube. I forgot when it was, but he surprised the audience. They were thinking that they were going to watch Hatchet 3 or the Hatchet films. Okay, is it added?
I can't deal with you right now. Get down. Down. Okay, I am finally here.
Yep, I was just talking about some Adam Green movies, and when Victor Crowley premiered, he actually surprised the audience. They thought they were going to like watch a Hatchet marathon or Hatchet 3, and he had surprised them with Victor Crowley, which would have been really cool to see that. And then I was just saying that once you were here, we were going to discuss them in order, because I was talking about the guest stars from Hatchet who were on Holliston. So, but that's that. How are you? Besides whichever animal it was jumping on you.
Oh, that was Max. He was protesting. He likes to harass me when I'm next to the computer.
So,
So he was trying to climb, like he did the other day when he climbed in front of the keyboard.
mm,
But
shame,
we
shame.
just got back and I had to take the dog out. And she's been taking forever to go to the bathroom with her allergies the way they are that she keeps wanting to itch and roll. So it takes forever to take her outside. For
Right.
some dumbass reason, this is my fault. I have these slip-on loafers that I wear outside. Technically, they're my husband's, but I confiscated them because I can't wear my shoes. So I went outside, slipped off my shoes, then went outside to get her because we had her hooked on a pole when we brought groceries in. So I had to walk around barefoot outside because then she wanted to go bathroom. I was like, really? I'm out here barefoot. So I had to walk clear up to the front of the house barefoot and back. Like, really? It was my own dumbass fault for doing it, but
Why? Right.
I don't know why I slipped off my shoes to go outside, but yeah, it is what it is.
Well, we all take off our shoes when we're outdoors. So, but oh well. Yeah. So I've just been watching some Hatchets this week, working the usual. That's about it. You?
Just still dealing with the dog and because her allergies. She's got hot spots, so she's got a big bald spot on her butt. So
Yikes.
trying to tend to that, and because we don't have an appointment, we couldn't get in before October, so we're having to deal with everything. I have to give her Benadryl because I can't get her allergy pills until we go to the vet. So I have to make sure she's taking her Benadryl, and sometimes some of the food she's not wanting to eat, but she'll end up eating later. She's not like starving or anything, but for some reason, one of her foods that she used to like, she decided she don't like it no more. So I don't know. It's just been a pain trying to deal. We got some band-aids and stuff. I'm having to first aid her.
Oh, that sucks. But yeah.
Yeah, she's got a huge ass bald spot on her butt. So trying to deal with that and make sure she don't open them up. So we got gauze and first aid kits. I've been being a little vet tech to my dog.
I'm gonna
do the best I can until we can get her into the vet.
I was gonna say, wrap her up, dress her a mummy dog for Halloween.
Yeah, well, at least her butt has been lately, but and then taking it off and letting it air. And I don't know if you saw the TikTok that I did with the Twist song, but or her rolling on the sidewalk is a regular event right now. I think she's scratching her butt without actually chewing on it. So she's
cheating.
Well, she usually does it for temper tantrums because she's got 14% husky, and huskies are known for temper tantrums. So she does throw those, but now she's doing them to itch her butt on the sidewalk.
Kind of like I remember the Family Guy when Brian, he's like, "Oh, so I'm a dog, huh? How about this? Oh yeah, I'm scooting on your floor. You like that?" He's like, "I might just rub my ass on the floor."
Yeah, that's another thing I had to do because that's usually when they have like anal gland issues, and
yeah,
so I had to do her anal glands. So that was fun.
On that fun note, how about we go ahead and get into Hatchet?
Yeah.
Which was interesting. I don't know if you know, and I forget exactly how old Adam was. I know he was like between 8 and 10. That's actually when he came up with the idea for Victor Crowley when he was a little kid. He was at some camp, and I guess there was like a shed there or something, and like the kids were told to stay out, and so Adam was like, I wonder why, and so he came up with that whole story of Victor Crowley, and he like kind of freaked out the other kids at camp and got in trouble for it, telling them about Victor Crowley. So that's like he had that idea in his head for years prior to it becoming a movie, which I found pretty funny. It's like, that's a sick little boy. But like it.
Yeah, we love Adam for it.
Adam is awesome.
Yes, he's came up with awesome movies. I have never got to see that TV show, which I think I have seen at least one episode.
It's on Shudder. It's on Shudder. So.
Yeah, I know. I'm just so behind on watching stuff, but
oh my God, Dee Snider as the boss, Lance Rocket. You've been great. I've been Diver Down. Good night. He's like he's a what was it? Came up with a great new song. Oh, what was the band? Diver Down is the name of his band, but he was like talking about being a cover band for a band that already exists. Like the way he put it didn't even make sense. And they like make fun of him at one point. They're like trying to figure out his sexuality. They're like, Riley's sex is oral. Like everything he said, like it's like Riley is a guy's name or a girl's name, and he's just
True.
like, so like, but it's funny how they're trying to like allude to it, and he keeps like going around it. It's hilarious. And Dee was even saying, when we were talking to him at one of the conventions and stuff, and like some of the outfits that he wore were actually his that he used to wear for Twisted Sister that he wore on the show, the same shoes and some other stuff. And so, okay, but anyway, we'll go ahead and start going into Hatchet here. We got the cast here. I'll go ahead and read it off. Joel David Moore played Ben. Hopefully I say her name right. Amara Zaragoza. She is the first Mary Beth Dunstan, which is later replaced by Danielle Harris. Dion Richmond is Marcus. Kane Hodder, Victor Crowley, and Mr. Crowley. Mercedes McNabb, Misty. I was so glad she got killed in this. Perry Shen plays Sean, who is the tour guide in it. We got Joel Murray, who is Doug Shapiro, a kind of like a Girls Gone Wild director, which we learn he's kind of faking it just so he can get videos of naked girls doing whatever he wants. Richard Really, he plays Jim, the older husband in it. There's a couple that's on the tour. Patricia Darbo plays the wife. We have a guest appearance from Robert Englund in the beginning of it, who plays Mary Beth's father, and Joshua Leonard, who plays his son, Mary Beth's brother. Tony Todd as Reverend Zombie. Riley Vanderbilt is young Victor Crowley. Adam Green even makes a cameo in it as like a person in Mardi Gras.
He's one of Joel or Ben's friends.
Well, sort of. He has the one friend, Marcus, that sticks with him, and they kind of like split up. And Adam doesn't end up going on the tour. He ends up in jail later on, that we see in the second one.
He makes a cameo in all the movies.
Yeah,
but he just plays like buddy number one is what it's labeled at on IMDb.
Yeah. So as I was saying, it starts out, we get to see Robert Englund with his son. They're gator hunting in the beginning, and it's kind of funny because they do mention Mary Beth sort of later on, and he's like, "Oh, why don't you like your sister? And you're always calling me a queer." And Samson is all like, "Quiet, you queer!" And he's just making fun of him right in the beginning. And that's when, of course, Victor Crowley comes out just before they're almost attacked by an alligator. Ansley, he's like taking a piss off the side of the boat, and he's complaining how, making noise, and that's why Samson was all pissed off at him, calling him a queer. Pissed off, no pun intended.
Right. And I made a tweet because I've forgotten how good the alligator effects were in these movies. And I was saying, I think Adam Green should do an alligator or a croc movie because the gator effects are really good in this movie.
Oh, yeah. And same thing with, like when they're in the swamp, you see them later on. And then in Victor Crowley, like the alligators they have are really good.
Yes, they are. And even there's another movie, I think it's 3, has another gator in it. And it's just as good as the first one. Yes, 3.
Yeah, and Victor Crowley, which we'll get to with the plane crash and with Tiffany Shepard, but yeah.
Right, but I was just mentioning the alligators now.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely, they were.
I was mesmerized by the alligators.
Oh, I know. I could have sworn they were real alligators. Like, I mean, they. So yeah, but that's when, of course, we got Victor Crowley attacks them, rips them open, tears them apart. Slams them against the tree, rips their arms off. Um, and I think it was the son he killed. He like ripped out his insides through his back, so he got like super strength Victor Crowley spirit going around killing people in his swamp. Um, and then it cuts to the scene. We got all the friends, Ben and Buddy One Adam Green, and they're all going through Mardi Gras. You see women flashing for bees and people drinking and a couple people getting sick, which could have passed on that, but
Yeah, true. But I guess it's the Mardi Gras experience. I guess I've never been to it. Don't know anything about it, but
yeah.
I would assume a lot of it would be part of the experience because way I've seen like in movies and whatnot, everybody gets blasted drunk. So
Pretty much, yeah.
it's probably something that goes along with it, I would assume.
Yep, I guess so. But yeah, I heard it gets pretty wild. I haven't been, but maybe one day. I don't know. We'll see. Just to see what it's like, just to have the experience.
I do have a cousin that lives in they're not in New Orleans, but they're close. They're in a town that's nearby. So maybe I'll go crash them one day. I doubt it because I don't know exactly where they live. I just know the town.
Right. So, and Ben, he's all depressed that he broke up with his girlfriend that he was with, I guess, since like 10th grade or something, or 9th. And then after college, they broke up. And they're like, Adam's side friends, the other couple buddies, they're trying to get him drunk. Well, even Marcus, is telling him to forget about her. Let's have a good time. That's what we're here for. You basically don't need to be talking about her. And he's trying to tell them that he wants to do a haunted tour. He's like talking about the lights. And they're like, fucking lights. He's like, let's go see some boobs. Fuck the tour. Well, along those lines.
Yeah.
Not the exact quote, but pretty much what he was saying.
Yeah, I think they use titties.
Or titties. Yeah, titties, whatever.
I'm pretty sure they say titties a lot in this movie.
Yeah, they left out the tit bots though,
right?
or nipple bots. My bad. But Marcus feels bad, and he decides to go with them to find this tour, and that's when we meet Reverend Zombie, who's played by Tony Todd, and they're talking about the tour, and he says he doesn't do the tours anymore because someone got hurt and sued him. It's kind of funny because he was acting like it was a scary story at first, and they're like, then what happened? He sued me for not having insurance, and now I can't do no more tours.
Yeah, plus you think the accident is going to be worse than what it is. He just like tripped or some shit like that, and but he like leads it up like it's going to be this big traumatic thing that happened, and then he's like, then he tripped, and then he sued me.
That was a great line because they're all waiting. The anticipation is like building up. Like, oh, what happened? Yeah, I did so. He's like, I don't talk about it. What happened?
Yeah, it's great. They make you think one thing, and yeah, it's great. I love the humor in these movies.
Yeah. Yeah, Adam is great when it comes to comedy. So. And horror. I mean, it's great because you got, you're like your 80s slashers and comedy and all thrown in. And so he tells him about that. I forget what the place was called, but that's where Perry Sheen's character, Sean, is working. And he doesn't know what he's talking about at all. He's like note cards. And, we later find out it's like his second night doing this. And along the way, he charged them, I think it was like $40 each. And Marcus was saying, I ain't paying for this. This is stupid. So he's making Ben pay for the tour. And they all get onto the bus. So that's where we see Shapiro, Misty, and I forget the other girl's name, but we can just call them Slut 1 and Slut 2. They're trying to be in.
No, we call them Cam Girl 1 and Cam Girl 2.
Okay, all right. Well,
I
they were
think
like
that's more
insulting. Well, it was
appropriate.
fun. Okay, true, but it was funny how they were insulting each other though. They're like, "Oh, syphilis." So
True.
they were like insulting each other like that. Oh, and what's funny is because earlier on when they were talking about when was the last Ben was talking to Marcus, like when was the last time he had sex, and mentioned how that one woman had crabs, and he was like, she kept scratching herself, which played on later when he was talking to the one girl, the cam girl, whatever, the Girls Gone Wild rip off. What was it? Babes of the Bayou or Bayou Babes or something. That the video that he was supposed to be putting out. And then we meet the older married couple. Mary Beth is sitting by herself, and Ben ends up sitting with her and horribly flirting with her, talking talking about his breakup, and Marcus is just like hitting him like stupid, like come on, just he's like just trying to hook them up, and she's not really into him. She because her purpose there is to go into the swamp and find her parents, or her dad and brother. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So, and of course, it's kind of funny. The older couple and is like, "Oh, Bayou Babes, have you heard of?" And he's like, "Oh, yes," or was it Beavers or something? Something that he had released,
I
or
think it's Beavers.
yeah, something that he had released prior to Bayou, or whatever it was, and. And the husband was like, "Yes," and then the wife was like, "No," and he's like, "No," like saying he never. It's just, I mean, like all the lines, it's just clever. It's just humorous how it's well written in my opinion.
Oh yeah, definitely. These movies are great, and because of that,
Yeah, everything is like when they're trying to act and stuff. You're like, oh yeah, well, and Misty is like a total ditz, calling her calling the other one a hermaphrodite, and then saying, "Oh, what is that?" And it's like, "Well, I know what it is. That's what you are," and like say it at the same time. So like she's really just
yeah,
totally.
she's like, I wouldn't have used it if I didn't know what it was or something like that. And she's like, okay, let's say what it means at the same time. And then she just like follows the other girl, yeah, saying the explanation. Then you just see her like realize, like, wait, what?
It's more. And I don't even remember what else. There were just so many funny insults to them, and like, uh, so they're on the they get onto the boat and everything, and during the bus ride stuff, also Sean, he's like trying to talk about how well they bury the dead above ground to scare, I forget, it was like something stupid, it like didn't make sense of what it was, and the old guy kept on trying to say like, oh, I heard it's because of the water level, like the real reason. It's like, no, it's not. And so he kept on telling stories that he was trying to make up. Oh, like how ditzy Misty is, like when he was saying to your left or whatever, she was looking out the wrong side of the window, and Shapiro was like pointing over to where the graveyard.
And also Sean, the tour guide, the Perry, of course he has an exaggerated accent.
Yeah.
It's just out there that he's trying to like play it off that he's from that area.
Which is obvious the way he is, you can tell. And I think at one point, even like when he yells at him, he like kind of switched out of it to his regular voice accent.
He breaks character, and then you find out, and then he goes back into character, and then they realize it a little bit later on when he breaks character again, and that he's not, that's not even his accent. And he's just like a normal, I think he said, when it was from like Detroit or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, he just had like a normal like accent. It wasn't this over the top accent that he was going with.
Yeah. So then, of course, while they're on the boat, he's not used to it, and he's stupid and crashes the boat, or he hits a log, stalls out, and almost well, actually he does, he sinks the boat basically, and they're trying to get on the shore because of, and there's the alligator too at one point when they're going across, which we had mentioned how good the alligators were. That's the point where we got to that.
Yeah.
Which was funny how, again, Misty, being the dumb blonde she is, was saying it's part of the tour, and he goes, oh yeah, I sink the boat every night. Like,
he's like, I went out 2 times, and the last time I went out, the boat didn't sink. And he like, but yeah, the older married man gets bit in the leg by the alligator as they're trying to get onto the shore.
Right. And of course, there's no signal, and they start running into Victor Crowley. The first ones that got killed was the married couple. The husband, of course, got hacked to death with a hatchet. And I love the kill with the wife where he rips open her mouth and you see the tongue hanging out.
That's probably the best kill. I think, if I remember correctly, that's Kane's favorite kill. Like out of all the movies he's done, it used to be the sleeping bag kill in.
I thought it was one
Jason
that he said it was. I thought he said that it was the one where he stepped on the back of the person, ripped the arms off, and crushed them. I thought that was the kill.
Maybe. I don't know. I could swear I could be remembering it wrong too. But
or maybe. Well, it could be. I mean, either way.
We'll say it's one of his favorites to play it safe.
Yeah.
We'll say it's one of his favorites, not all time, but we'll say one of his favorites. I know he mentioned it. He really enjoyed because I watched the Just Joe Bob of Victor Crowley, and of course they talked a little bit about the other movies as well. And he had mentioned that kill.
Oh, okay. Well,
he didn't say it was his favorite. He just remember saying he liked that kill. But I could swear I heard on a panel, but this is years ago, so I wouldn't trust my memory whatsoever. That he had said that was his favorite kill. It used to be the sleeping bag one, but that one was. But I wouldn't trust my memory. It could be that as well. So we're just gonna say one.
It's in his top 3. There you go.
Yeah, we'll say that. We'll play safe and do that because I wouldn't trust my memory. I'm not gonna. It's like, oh yeah, I'm dead set on this. This is probably back in like 2015 when I've seen him, so I know.
Right. And we got, of course, Shapiro. He runs off by himself, and he's the one that gets his head twisted around until it comes off. So that's another good kill that I like in that one. All the kills are just great in these movies. I mean, it's hard to choose which one is the best. I mean,
and I love how they always have the spraying blood after they make it so over the top.
Like if he rips someone apart, or once he lifts them up and stuff, all the blood just shoots onto the tree.
There's always spraying blood.
Got to have that extra blood onto the tree there.
Right.
Let's see. Jenna was the other girl's name, I believe, from Misty and Jenna. Let's see. She gets her face gets sanded off with a sandblaster. That was fun. Mm-hmm. And then torn apart with a shovel that was nearby. So that was another good kill. But yeah, basically they're just trying to escape Victor Crowley at this point once they find out what's going on. And Mary Beth, I forget which point, but she does tell the story of what happened to Victor Crowley, how he was accidentally killed by his own father. Some kids set it on fire. Face was to the door. Boom, got the hatchet. So I'm pretty sure they told in the first one, and then they went into more detail in the second and third one. They went back. We find out some more to that. What else was there? What else would you like to add about that? We got Marcus was killed. Pretty much everyone was killed off, of course, besides Mary Beth. Which the way when she's fighting Victor Crowley, Marcus, his death was pretty fun. He got his arms ripped off, and then he was slammed against a. Was it? Why do I have gravestone down? Maybe there was, or something there by the house.
I think it was in the cemetery when he got killed. So it might have been.
That's what it was, where they're all running high, and I think in one part he wanted to even hide like up in the tree, and then they're like,
okay, he was up in a tree when they first, when they first seen him. He did go up in a tree, and they talked him down
because they were like, "Yeah, we'll see, we'll bring back help," and he's like, "Ah, fuck!" And he's just like, "Wait up."
Yeah, he didn't want to be there by himself. He really wasn't that far up the tree. If he went a little farther, he probably would have been all right and just stayed there.
Yeah. could have made it to the day. And I think, I mean, you notice how it's like they were even saying later on, like he comes out every night. So probably if he would have made it to the day, it should have been all right during daytime because I don't think
Right,
Victor.
but he didn't know that
Well, of
he
course
only
he did.
came
He
out
did.
at night. Yeah,
Of course they didn't know that fact, but I'm just saying, like if he did, he would have been okay. Of what we know as the viewer.
right.
So. And of course, Mary Beth is like fighting for her life at the end there. Oh, well, Ben, what was happening to him? It was the two of them. I'm trying to remember. He was in the boat that got killed.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I want to say he gets throat slit. I know he something had happened to him before that because she had went under the water, got her foot tangled in there,
yeah,
and then you see him from the top of the thing, like reaching down, trying to grab at her.
yeah.
And then she finally gets loose and she's going up, and you see Ben's arm in the water. But when you go up, it's Victor Crowley holding his arm in there. And then he does something else. I want to say he slits his throat, but I don't remember exactly. He did something else to Ben, so he's just now just laying in the boat.
Yeah, that's what it was. He started to say a line or something, and he got his throat slit. That's
Yeah,
what it
and
was.
so then he gets. I don't know if you really want to say killed
Yeah,
because
because
uh
something.
yeah, because of something else, but as far as we know, he is
Well,
killed
you
in
think he's dead? Yes.
right into the boat,
I
and
think when
then
she was fighting him off, she didn't she like stab him in the eyes, like from the eye, and she was getting off swimming, and that's how she had made it through the swamp. She was swimming away.
yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and that like starts off in the second one, sort of where it ended a little bit. Um,
Yeah, she was like, and she shot him in the face at the start of the second one. She shoots him in the face.
yeah, and oh, we didn't mention that guy Jack, like that drunk guy that was trying to tell him not to go into the swamp, and Sean was just saying how he's a crazy drunk guy that drinks his own pee. Not to listen, which in that guy in the second one, it's him, um, and she rewind. He ends up picking her up in a boat or whatever and taking her to the cabin, and not knowing who she was, he just rescued her. And once he finds out who she is, being Mary Beth Sampson's daughter, she's trying to say what happened, why she went back to the swamp, and he freaks out and he's telling her, get out of here and want nothing to do with you, what your father did. And that's where we learn a little bit about how her father was one of the kids that threw fireworks at the house that caused the fire that killed Victor Crowley, but by accident. But um, so as she runs out, that wasn't the police station one. She went to the town. She was saying that ask your uncle. We got Tom Holland, who is Uncle Bob, which I was joking around at one point when we were. I think it was one of the nights our group was talking to Danielle on the one of the group nights, and we were drinking, and something came up about Hatchet too, how she always said Uncle Bob. We were like, we should make that a drinking game. Every time she says Uncle Bob, take a drink. So this is, like I said, of course, this is the one where Danielle Harris takes over. Tony Todd is still Reverend Zombie. This time, Perry, he's in all of them. He plays a different character. He plays Justin, who is Sean's brother. We find out once once Reverend Zombie gets a group together. We got R.A. I always have trouble saying his last name. Milahoff is Trent. I love his death with the head. That's at the end. That's a good one. AJ Bowen is in this one. He plays Leighton. Alexis Kendra plays Avery. Ed Ackerman plays Cletus. David Floyd plays Chad. Colton Dunn plays Vernon. Rick McCollum plays John. We got John Carl plays Jack Cracker.
Yeah.
That's funny. We got Jack Cracker, which I think those were the two Cletus and Jack, I think they were the ones on the same boat, weren't they? And they were talking about how he goes, "I take my own boat in case I hook up." Like, well, who are you going to hook up with? And talking about the one woman who was in the group.
Yeah.
It's like I get confused on who's who. There's so many people in the group. Um, but yeah, she finds out. Mary Beth finds out about her dad, and she wants to go back. And she goes to see Reverend Zombie, who, because I think that's what Jack said. I think he said something about ask your uncle or ask Reverend Zombie, one of the two. Do you remember?
I think it was ask your uncle because the uncle was wanting her to stay away from the Reverend Zombie.
Right.
I think that's how it went.
Along those lines.
Yeah.
And yeah, we also find out that we see Reverend Zombie and Perry, who plays Justin in this, is Sean's brother from the first one, who they were actually running the tour for Reverend Zombie, even because it was his boat and he was making the money off it, which is weird, but whatever. That's why he sent him there. So they had like that little going on. And she was saying how she's still want to go back, and Reverend Zombie, which we find out later, has a plan, thinking that getting these people who had started the curse, who had killed, set the fire for Victor Crowley. Once they were killed, that would end the curse, which we find out something else later on about the curse in the third one. But he gets a group. He tells Justin to get a whole group together and make sure Trent's with them, and he offers them $1,000, like $500 to go in, and they don't believe that it's Victor Crowley that's there. He tells them they think it's like maybe someone who's dressing up or being a psycho in the
copycat basically.
Basically a copycat in the swamp, and they figure, well, shit, they could just kill him, and get some more money. So that's how he gets them out. And of course, Reverend Zombie doesn't tell the truth about what happened to Sean, even though Mary Beth tells him they're all dead. But they think that they're just going to get the boat back and everything. And of course, they run into the spirit of Victor Crowley there. So, oh yeah, it was like $5,000 if they kill Victor Crowley.
Right.
So of course we got all the group going out, and Mary Beth did talk her uncle into going with them.
Yeah, because he found out she was going with or without him, so he decided to go to protect her.
So, and that didn't work out very well.
No.
So once they're in the swamp, of course, one by one, Victor Crowley starts picking them off. I think it was Cletus or whatever. Yeah, he gets killed from the boat propeller, which was a good kill. Mm-hmm. And then John, in another scene, forget what the other guy's name was, but yeah, the two of them. And it's like, where does Victor Crowley get these tools? Like, he had the sandblaster in the first one. The second one, he's got a chainsaw that's like 8 feet long, and it goes maybe not 8 feet, maybe like 6 feet. I don't know, but it's
it was big.
I mean, yeah, I don't want to over exaggerate it there, but I mean, it was a big a big chainsaw there that goes right through those two guys. And even through when it was cutting through, the one guy's balls dropped, which actually plays a part in the third one later on too, with when they go back. So yeah, they're just getting killed off all the way through. And later, like while they're all escaping, Reverend Zombie is with Trent. Of course, Mary Beth and I started to say Sean. I meant Justin, Perry's character. And then that's when Perry finds out, or Justin finds out about his brother being dead and the Reverend hiding it. And he's trying to sacrifice Mary Beth's uncle to Victor Crowley. He's pulling her off, and she's all pissed trying to, she wants to rescue her uncle there, and she's being dragged off uh, by Reverend Zombie. Uh, and Trent, that's fighting him. His death, probably one of my favorites in this one. He takes his head down on the table, kicks it, so we got the top half of his head that
Right.
slides down the table.
And then he blinks afterwards.
And he blinks afterwards. Yep. And once they're out of there, and Reverend Zombie thinks that the uncle being sacrificed, she's all telling him how stupid that he is, because that wasn't even her real uncle. She just called him Uncle Bob because, I guess, friend of the family,
Yeah, it was her dad's best friend.
And her uncle is really dead. And so, of course, Reverend Zombie is all like, fuck, and so Victor Crowley goes after Reverend Zombie. Cuts him in his legs off. And I love how he takes his spine, pulls it out, so he kind of skins Reverend Zombie.
Yeah, he does a Predator move where he pulls the skull and spinal cord out.
Yeah. And throws it off into the woods there.
And my favorite kill on that one is probably, I didn't write down their names, so I don't remember which one it was. But the girl that got the guy to cheat with her.
Oh, yeah.
And the dude gets killed during sex.
Yeah.
And then they're doing it doggy style, and I think he was wanting to stop, and she's like, no, just a little bit longer. And then all of a sudden you just see it going at it, and she's like, whoa, calm down there. And because, Victor Crowley chopped off his head. And then she's still on all fours, and then I think it was the chainsaw. He gets her in the crotch, and then he goes and stabs her in the chest, and then it gets stuck, and that's a good kill.
Yeah, for sure.
Probably the worst thing. I don't know, would that be a worse kill to get killed during sex, or would that be a good way to go?
And he probably didn't realize anything, but I mean, he was just having sex and his head gone. So I don't know. Was that show that used to be on 1,000 Ways to Die, and a couple who had sex for the first time, they overexerted themselves and they died together.
Really?
They gave each other a heart attack, they overexerted themselves. But
were they old or something?
No, they weren't that old. I forget how old they said they were, but no, it was their first time for both of them. They got married and on their honeymoon, and
well then.
So I need to find some of those old episodes. They probably have clips on YouTube if you type in 1,000.
Probably. I've never watched it, so I don't know. But
they had some weird deaths on there. There was this guy went to some fetish place or whatever, and he went to be a slave, and he was allergic to the or whatever the material was that he had the mask, kind of like American Horror Story.
Probably latex, maybe.
The latex sex suits, yes. And he had a ball in his mouth, so he couldn't say anything, and he had an allergy, and it threw up. And after she was spanking him, making call master, blah blah blah, he died, and because he couldn't say anything, he couldn't breathe because he had the ball in his mouth, and he just died.
Crazy.
But anyway.
Well, when I almost died, I was choking on Pepsi, so Pepsi about took me out. One of the many times I've almost died, I should say, because there have been multiple.
What way to go? Death by Pepsi. After all the support you've given them.
Right. Blame my dad. This is all he drinks too. But yeah. The very last near-death experience, I was drinking this, and I got choked and it got stuck in my throat where I couldn't breathe. And that's when I passed out and hit my head on the floor.
Not good.
No.
But, speaking of hitting heads, well, with a hatchet, we got, of course, Mary Beth. She ended up, when she was battling Victor Crowley, she, fucking smashed in his face 50 times. And yet he still came back after that.
Yeah, because they explained it. I forget if it was the last movie not the last movie, if it's the third movie,
Yeah,
or if they explained it in the second. One of them, they said they come back. He comes back every night as whole
yeah,
because he's a ghost. You can't really do much about it. So you just, no matter what you do to him, he's going to come back whole
yeah.
the next night.
Which I think was like the third
It
one.
might have been, yeah.
So, but she makes it through, and she thinks she kills him, and like has his scalp, and uh, it sort of continues into the third one when she's going into the police station, and she's covered in blood, and she's like, "I killed him." And what's funny, just before she goes in the police station, of course, we see Adam Green. He's like, "I should have gone on the boat tour." No, not really.
Right.
he actually, it's a good thing he didn't go on the boat tour.
Right.
But that was great though. I love seeing he's like, he should have gone on the tour. But yeah,
Right.
Zach, go ahead and go through the list for the third one there. Go back.
The synopsis, anyway: a search and recovery team heads into the haunted swamp to pick up the pieces, and Mary Beth learns the secret to ending the voodoo curse that has left Victor Crowley haunting and terrorizing Honey Island swamp for decades.
Yep. And of course, we got the return of Daniel Harris, Kane Hodder, Zach Galligan from Gremlins. He plays Sheriff Fowler.
Mm-hmm.
Caroline Williams, Amanda plays his wife, ex-wife slash whatever.
Ex-wife, yeah.
Well, they say like later on when they call
Yeah,
it,
they say both,
they
but yeah, they're
say-
ex.
yeah. And Perry is in this one as well, and he plays a paramedic named Andrew in this one.
Yeah.
Let's see, we got Robert Diego. He plays Deputy Winslow. Derek Mears is in this one. He plays Hoss. He's like a leader of the SWAT team that goes in there. And we even got Dee Snider's son is in this, Cody Blue Snyder. And it's funny because his character's name is Snyderman.
And Sean Whalen.
Yep, he plays a paramedic in it. He's
And Sid
got a
Haig.
good death scene. Yep.
Yeah.
Riley Vanderbilt. She plays Daughtry, she's new to the team, so she doesn't know the legend of Victor Crowley. And Snyderman tries. It's funny because he starts to tell the story, and we've all heard it, of course. And I think it was Haas came in. He's like, "We don't have time for this." And Snyderman, he like has all these like, he's got a bazooka in there and all these firearms.
Yeah, when he goes to shoot the bazooka later on, I could have swore, because I don't really know how they work. I don't know much about that stuff, but I could have swore it was going to be where he had it backwards and he was going to shoot.
I know.
That's what I was expecting, because he didn't really seem like he knew a lot of what he was doing. So I thought for sure he was going to shoot it and kill everybody behind him, but
yeah,
we find out
that would have been funny.
It would have been.
Well, I mean, not like shoot the people and kill them, but like just have it go in the other direction of the swamp and blow up behind him.
Yeah. I think it'd be funnier if he would have not had like the main group like stand somewhere else in his head and like another group sit there and he's like
just off to the side and he blew up
like the rest of the SWAT team or something like that. That like
paramedic
didn't matter.
Depending on how far away they were, if it like hit one of the boats or something. But yeah, Sean Whalen, and like they do find the body of Victor Crowley, but of course, he's not dead. And once night comes, starts attacking everyone. I think it was Sean Whalen. He got the paddles to his head, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So that blew up his head.
Sid Haig, don't know if you heard, but he was in this. He played, I think he was the friend of Mary Beth's dad or something, or the uncle, or I don't know. He was, for some reason he had the remains of Victor Crowley's dad. I don't remember how that was, if he was relation or just a friend, but some reason he had the remains.
I think he was the uncle or something, or
I don't know, it might have been a different uncle, because I know the uncle that participated in the thing, she said died.
No, I'm talking
when
about
he was younger or something.
Was it that. No, I was talking about Sid Haig. Was it his or he might have been related? I don't know if he was a friend or related, but he ended up with the ashes though. Either way,
Yeah,
Um,
unless she had more than one uncle, which is a possibility. But I know the uncle that participated in with the dad, he was already passed on, so they couldn't. That's when she revealed, that Tom Holland wasn't her actual uncle.
mhm.
But yeah, I forget. Sid Haig, he played Abbott McMullen was the character, so I don't remember if he was relation or if just a friend. But
So
yeah, they had him like extremely racist and acted like he couldn't understand the dude talking when he was speaking very clearly.
and he was even saying, he goes, "Oh, do you have any watermelon and chicken and like he was making fun. He's like, "I ain't got no food for you." And he was like, "Oh my god!" He's like, "You can't hear," and he goes, "What? I'm not queer."
Yeah.
Oh, good old Sid. He was great. And
But one thing I like about this movie, because Derek Mears, he plays Final Cut Jason, as pretty much everybody knows. And they have him and Kane Hodder kind of. It's not really a huge fight. It would have been great if they had a little bit more of a battle, but because he gets killed pretty quickly. But, they had him go up against each other for a little bit. He goes and gets a hit in at least. So we had a somewhat of a Jason versus Jason. Wasn't long. I could have swore it lasted longer when I'd seen it, but when I watched it the other day, I was like, I could swear the scene lasted longer, and it did. That they actually battled, but
yeah.
guess not,
Well,
because I was remembering it wrong.
well, Sheriff Fowler, Zach Galligan's character, like he wanted to call in like the National Guard and stuff and try to get like people to get out there because of all the parts that were there, and even Snyderman. I don't love saying that Snyderman. Uh, he was like, "Those are someone's balls in a tree," and he was like freaking out. And the other guy said something. And he goes, "This guy knows what's up." Like,
Yeah, because they found Perry Andrew, and he's like, I hid. He's like, you hid. Why did you hide? I said, if I wouldn't hide, those would have been my balls in the tree.
and he's talking about, oh, it's kind of funny as the paramedics when he was talking earlier, and because he played the other character, he said something about how the guy looked like you, and he's like, oh, because we're Asian, we all look alike.
Yeah.
Oh, we also learn about the curse through Amanda, Caroline Williams' character, uh, the birth. The wife was sick, and there was like a nurse or whatever was taking a care, and Victor Crowley had fallen in love with her, and just before they had died, or she had died, they had the affair, and he was going to have a child with this woman, and the wife finds out, basically curses Victor and the child before she dies, a voodoo curse, and that's supposedly why Victor was deformed when he was born, and of course she died when Victor was born, and that's why Victor Crowley's dad, was raising him alone, and he was kind of ashamed a little bit of what he did, so that's why he had kept him away. Um, what's up, Bones? uh, so yep, and that's where the kids we also learn were at the store, and they follow him out to the cabin. They set it out, set it on fire. And she was saying how this was the one where he was a ghost, or he was reliving every single night. So there's nothing you can't do pretty much anything, because he's just going to come back regardless because of the curse. And he's searching for his dad. That's why you hear him in the ones like you hear daddy in the background, like before he kills, because he's looking for his father.
Right. So that's why they have to go to Sid Haig, because for some reason he's got the ashes. So they go and take the ashes from him.
And this is separate because Mary Beth was still in custody, sort of, and this other deputy was like just going along with Amanda. Pickaxe Santa reminds me of Hatchet. What do you think? Oh, Pickaxe sort of reminds me. Yeah, I guess a little bit. Was that Galligan in that one too, or no? I can't remember. I think he had a part in that.
I haven't seen that movie. I don't know.
Pickaxe is a good one.
I can
I
look.
know I know Tiffany Shepis is in it. That's kind of funny because she's in Victor Crowley. That'd be kind of funny if both Zach Galligan. No, it wasn't Zach Galligan. It was oh, what's his name was in Pickaxe. I can't think of his name right now. And Michael Baldwin. Yeah, that's who it was. So yeah, but it was funny. Tiffany Shepis though was in Pickaxe, and then she was in Victor Crowley. But yeah, if you get a chance, I believe Pickaxe is still on Tubi. But then again, there's so many shows and movies we gotta watch.
Right.
So much to keep up with. It's ridiculous. So, but yeah, so Mary Beth is being forced to take these ashes um, to the swamp, and she doesn't really want to, but she's told that that'll end the curse because she's the. It can only be done by the descendant of who caused the curse, which is her father, which she's already dead. So, and she was saying, well, why didn't you just do this years ago? And she was trying to tell Samson to what was going on and to try to get this taken care of. And she was like, yeah, he told me to fuck off. And the deputy goes, oh yeah, sounds like. And then she just goes, fuck off. And so they hear the radio, and finally, while they're traveling to the swamp, um, everyone's getting slaughtered except Andrew's still alive. Um, Riley's character, I forget her name, but the female SWAT team member, she's still alive. And so they're onto the boat, but they don't have the keys. And they were talking about, he's like, I'm just a paramedic. They don't let me drive. And they're stuck on there. And I think he was trying to get the sandblaster, and that's how he was busting in. And they're trying to figure out what to do. And of course, unfortunately, again, there's only one, or Andrew was the only one that makes it there. The sheriff gets killed off. Um, Amanda gets killed off when Mary Beth is like trying to drop off the ashes of Victor Crowley's father to him. And at first, he's kind of looking what's going on. You know, he almost, for a minute, you think that's going to be the end of the curse. But of course, unfortunately, it didn't work. And Mary Beth gets thrown against the tree. She's impaled in the side there. But she does, of course, we find out through the next one she did survive. And so that's pretty much on that one. He gets killed off. Andrew was the one that survived. Anything you want to add to that one?
And this one is where we find out that the Joel Ben character isn't
Oh,
fully killed off yet.
That's right.
The
I was
boat
thinking it
had-
was the next one for some reason. It was the third one. Yeah.
yeah, it was this one. The boat had came to shore, and the one paramedic, I think he was paramedic, had was like ran into the other group, like our main group, got scared and took off running the opposite way, and he makes it to the water, and he gets like between the dock and the boat in there, and then Ben's character like pops up out of the boat, as Victor Crowley like throws his axe and gets an axe right to his forehead. Oops, got it.
Okay. It's like, yeah, just boot them.
Yeah, I'm working on it.
Sorry, 84% match isn't good. If it was 85, I might. Thank you. No, I'm just kidding. Lame. So, but yeah, that's when he came back up. He's like, gotta be kidding me. And the axe hit him right in the face. That was funny.
Right.
So that was a fun little pop up there from Ben.
But I think the Derek Mears kill, and then the guy that he pops up. The guy that was running this when we find out the Bing character is still alive. You think Crawley's going to end up killing him too, but he ends up getting attacked by a gator. So I think that between Derek Mears and that like set of kills is probably some of my favorites of that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, peace out, bots. I got you.
Yeah.
Made
Only.
sure to report them before I evicted them.
Yeah. Yeah. No nipple bots.
No.
So yeah. Then we come to Victor Crowley, which takes place about 10 years after the third one, where Andrew's the survivor, writes this book, I Survivor. Oh, where does it go? There we go. So, of course, in this one, we got Perry Shin, who's Andrew. Kane Hodder is still Victor Crowley. What I mentioned, or what I was talking about earlier, Holliston and Laura Ortiz, she plays Rose in this really funny character, who's a friend of a couple making a movie. Dave Sheridan plays Dylan, who's like a tour guide in this one, wannabe actor. We got Crystal.
Horrible impressions.
Yeah. He actually does really good impressions in person, but he was meant to be like a bad actor in the movie. So it's kind of funny. He's good. He's a good bad actor. So I like how he mentioned he had a YouTube channel, Chilling with Dylan. Yep, Deputy Doofy. Yep, that's him in there. He was Dylan. Like he looks.
Oh, I didn't realize that was him.
Yeah, that's Deputy Doofy. Yep. Of course, then we got Felissa Rose, who plays a really funny manager to Andrew.
Mm-hmm.
Brian Quinn plays Austin. Tiffany Shepis is in this one. She's Casey. Chase Williamson plays Alex. Katie Booth plays Chloe. She's the one that wants to do a like Hatchet movie. I think she was calling it Hatchet Face. Kelly Vrooman, she played Sue. Jonah Ray Dell. Tyler Main has a part in it in the beginning. Let's see. And I think these other people were just like people in the bookstore. And what's kind of funny is the woman in the bookstore that had a dog. That's actually Adam Green's dog, Arwen. So Arwen played himself in the movie. And if you notice, also when they were out at the boats, the boat was called Arwen. I'm like, he used a little he put his corgi's name in there. So because that's
it's not a corgi, it's Yorkie.
Not corgi. Okay, there's my fail. Yorkie, not corgi.
I was like, what?
I completely said it. Corgis are the one with no tails. I don't know why I said that. I meant Yorkie. God. Oh, forgive me, Adam. I'm sorry.
They could have a tail. It depends if they get docked or not, because they're not born that way. They get chopped off.
Well, they do that intentionally. They wrap like rubber bands around the tails and stuff, and so they fall off, and that's how they raise them. Yeah. Which I never did get the point of that. Like, why raise them with no tail?
Same with rots and dobies. They dock their ear. Well, Corey's ears don't get docked, but their tails get docked.
So, which is weird. I don't get that, but
the look.
Yeah,
that's all it is. It's just the look.
That'd be kind of painful though. Have it like taped off tight in the blood and it just falls.
Yeah.
But oh well. And Danielle Harris does have a cameo at the end of this one. So yeah, in this one, the few friends, her boyfriend, they're going to a book signing where Andrew. Well, it's funny because Andrew, he's on a talk show first, and it turns out again that was his ex-wife. There's a lot of exes in 3 and 4 that are in this together, and people are he was exonerated, but people still sometimes call him a murderer because he was.
Oh yeah, because that's real life too.
Well, yeah.
No matter what happens in the court, if the people think you're guilty, you're going to be guilty for life.
Plus, like even Fowler said to Mary Beth, "Oh, you expect the judge to believe a ghost story," and he thinks that she was the murderer. But yeah, so of course people don't believe his. I mean, there's those who do believe the Victor Crowley story, and then there's also the half that doesn't. So he's on the show, and they're talking about it. Then they go to the bookstore signing, and the girl Chloe, she's excited to meet him, and she wants to get him to maybe like be in her movie. That's why she wants to talk to him, and We got Felissa Rose, who is just a weird druggy, like out of her mind management that doesn't do anything really.
Pretty much.
Like when, yeah, like when they're on the plane, they're like just like, I get headaches doing stuff, and she's talking about
I get migraines doing stuff, and then she has this whole like little tray of pills.
Oh,
So,
I thought that got booted out. Why are they messaging again?
again, really?
Block user. There we go. Actually, I think it's another name. I don't know, but anyway, I blocked him again. So
Yeah, it doesn't give me the option to block. I can only put in timeout or remove or report.
oh, okay. Well, I went ahead and blocked her. So, but yeah, then we got the different people meeting Perry at the bookstore, signing that she had booked for him to make his appearance. And it's funny because we got one woman, she wants her boob signs, and he's just all like, okay.
He's really uncomfortable, which I can imagine could be really uncomfortable. Then she wants one signed to her
dad. Like, why would you want
sign one to me and sign the other to my dad?
To my dad. Like, why is your dad looking at your boobs? There's a where are you from? Is this a wrong turn? Like, what's going on? And then the guy that pulls out his penis and he's like, oh yeah, you signed her boobs. It's like, I'm gonna tell people you're queer.
I'm gonna tell people you're homophobic.
Or tell people you're homophobic.
Yeah, you're homophobic. And then of course Felicia chimes in.
And she's like, oh,
go right ahead. Everybody else calls him a murderer.
You think you can do worse? And after that, see, it's funny how he moves the book too, like he doesn't touch it where it was. It's like over where he scoops it off to the side. And that's when, after that point, that's the point when Chloe comes up and she wants to do her movie proposal. And Laura Ortiz is the friend Rose, which is so funny. Their whole hotel situation, forgot to tell about that. And we were talking about sex. Oh, you mean this party in here at 3 o'clock? Oh, you think she's asleep? She can't hear. She's like making fun of.
Are we talking about the like 1 minute time or the 3 minute time?
And then she was talking about the, oh no, that's an exit only. Yes, such a prude. She's not getting involved to it. So Laura's hilarious.
Yeah, I liked her character a lot.
Yeah, actually, she was also the little girl in The Hills Have Eyes, the mutated.
Oh,
girl
I didn't know that. No.
Yep, that was her. Yeah. So they do their movie proposal, but before they really have a chance to get into the meeting, Felissa pulls him away, Andrew away, saying, "Oh, got to go." Talking about how he's got a really good offer and that it's time to go, and just lies and said that it's a family emergency and gets out of there. And she tells him that they want to do a show of him going back to the swamp. And he at first doesn't want to do this. He's like, oh, fuck that. He's like, why would I want to go back there? And she lies and says, oh, it's $1 million. So he, reluctantly decides to do it. I mean, that's a lot of money. Why turn it down? So they get onto the plane, and his ex from the show is on there. And it's funny because we got, of course, Adam Green and Joe Lynch doing a little cameo as the pilots when they get on board, which is hilarious. That fake mustache that Joe had on. And then when he's going off, we're next in line, and he keeps coming on like every 2 seconds. He's coming back on. And they're like,
as soon as you think the announcements are done, he's
they
like,
start to look out.
And then he just ends it with one long
And at the end of it, there's
and that was Adam Green doing that.
Yeah. Like every time you think he's done, like he comes back on like 5 times. It just says, "Oh, they're next in line. Some turbulence." And then he just goes, "We'll be leaving." And then it comes back. They're like going down. We're next in line. What's going on? Uh, and we also that's when Tiffany Shepis, she is what was it, the camera woman, I believe she was, because
Yeah.
the gay guy was the wardrobe.
Yeah, makeup and probably wardrobe, and I know for sure makeup because he was doing dude's makeup,
Yeah,
and yeah, she was camera, and Brian Quinn was sound.
yeah. So and while that plane's taking off, we got down in the honey swamp. Chloe, her boyfriend, and Rose. They meet Dylan there, who is their tour guide slash actor. I guess she met him on Twitter or whatever, and the way he was acting, she had paid him more money, and Rose was like complaining, like, "Oh, we were paying all this money for this, and I got the the shit bag hotel room that we had to split." And the way it was, she was saying about paying him, she's like, "Oh, talking about giving him a blowjob," and instead she's like, "No, I pay," and she goes, "Huh, maybe I wouldn't have been so bad." Because he was and of course Dylan has like sort of a crush, like an instant crush on Rose, and like when he introduces himself and she's like, "Yeah," she's like, "I have a dick."
Which this is important for later.
for later on, yeah. which is brought up again. But he's like showing off headshots, and they're talking about the movies, doing his horrible impressions and everything. And they're also talking about like once they're in the swamp, they're the correct term. They want to do the trailer, and Chloe wants to make it more realistic, making sure that the curse that was used to bring Victor Crowley to use. So she's playing it on the phone over and over, and then we get the a little cameo, Reverend Zombie saying the correct way to say the curse, and so of course they bring Victor Crowley back
By YouTube videos, by the way.
By YouTube videos.
Which plays, they mentioned it's like, you can't bring a curse by the YouTube videos because they're arguing about that on the plane. It's like, I don't know what else it could be. And of course, Dylan's like, he comes back every 10 years. No, that's not it. It's these YouTube videos.
Yeah, that's when their plane crashes. The sound guy, he got sucked out the window, so he was dead. And the pilots, they don't show Adam but they're dead because they were when Dylan was on there, they were saying like, you don't go up front, it's bad up there. Tiffany Shepis' character, she gets stuck. Her seat, she's crashed in, and it's down on her, and the plane's starting to sink a little, like water's coming in a little bit, so she's about to almost drown. And they don't know yet about Victor Crowley being brought back. Dylan ran off and left. I think Rose went with Dylan. They split up from Chloe and her boyfriend to go check out, because I forget what was brought up about something, people falling out of the sky or something. Or like they're like,
yeah, they were standing there playing the YouTube videos when the dude that got sucked out of the plane, I think he was an extra sound guy or something, because Brian Quinn was sound guy.
Yeah.
So I think he was just like maybe learning or something, but he gets sucked out, so they're standing there playing the voodoo curse, and this skeleton, this bloody skeleton just splats right in there. Like, there's people falling out of the sky.
Yep. And that's when Rose and Dylan split up to go see what was up with the plane. And it's kind of funny because Dylan was like trying to take charge. He's like, "I'm here to help," or "How is everyone?" Like he acted like he was in charge. And
yeah.
So, and then this is just before Victor Crowley rises, and Chloe, they're walking away because they want to go get help, or bodies just fell out and none of their phones working, and Rose had dropped the phone, so of course she couldn't call for help. And they were talking about they weren't getting signal on the plane, and he was saying, "Go that way." He's like, "There's a phone tower. I know the area." Like he was just all
trying to make himself sound smart. I knew that window was open the whole time, but the cell towers are this way.
Right. Yeah. And so while that's going on, and he's somewhat helping or trying to help, whatever, we got Chloe and her boyfriend going off, and they come across Victor Crowley's house, and the lights, go on and scare them, and they're in there, and they actually have the power tools there from 10 years ago, which is so stupid. And,
Right.
and so they, while they're in there, and then they hear, the daddy there, Victor Crowley comes. What did he do? Did he? I forget if he like crushed the head of the boyfriend. Was that it? I forget how he killed him. But
Well, I know there was. He's like, there's nothing out there to be afraid of, because there's no door on the shed, obviously, and it's got a motion light, so it keeps flickering on and
went
off.
off.
And there's nothing there. He's like, there's nothing to be afraid of. And then,
All of a sudden, he appears and grabs
he
him.
appears and like tackles him down, and I forget what he did first, but yeah, he does end up smashing his head.
Yeah.
Eventually.
Yeah, I think he grabbed a hammer and was smashing the head. That's what it was. Yeah.
And he did something originally first, and before he knocked him down, I think.
Yeah.
And
there's always the multi body rip or
Oh,
whatever
yeah.
he does. Like he just, demolishes them. So right, so she runs off, and she's running to the plane, and she's trying to, tell what happened, and they see, and I think they had heard the daddy, and Andrew was freaking out, and he was telling him not to get off the plane because he knew what was going on, and they still didn't really believe him just yet until Victor had come, and he smashes her through the glass. I guess at one point they were trying to kick out the glass. He was being stupid, Dylan was, but Victor Crowley smashes her face through the glass and gets her body out there, and she's still alive. He's pretty much like setting out a trap to try to get them to come out and save her. So they're like debating what to do, and Rose is, wanting to save her, like she's my best friend, but I can't let her. And Dylan wants to take charge and go out there, and he's talking to her about one thing. He's like, I just want one thing. He's like, when I come back, I want a kiss.
I don't care if you have a dick. And then everybody just looks at her. She goes, that was from earlier.
I think they had already kissed though and everything before, or like before she said that. And he's like, they're talking about Mary. He's like, and I don't even care if you have a dick. So that had played into earlier, which was funny. Yeah. Oh, I just noticed. I didn't say hello to Echo. I'm sorry. I don't know if you're still here or not, Echo. I didn't mean to ignore you there, but thank you for.
I did say hello to them when they popped
in.
I?
I don't know if I did or not. I'm sorry.
I don't think you did, but I did.
Okay.
So
at least one of us acknowledged you. I'm sorry. I was also blocking that name or whatever. That's why probably. But,
right.
But anyway, but yeah, that was a funny line, and that was that whole dick thing that came into that.
Yeah.
And
yeah, but the Dylan and that Rose character, they was just like made for each other. There was just their sarcasticness was just made for each other. I think that was kind of the point.
Yeah, they ended up randomly being made.
Yeah.
And okay, Echo, he's still here. He said it's cool. All right, cool. Yeah, if you've seen the Hatchet movies, anything you want to say or your favorite death, or anything at all, let us know. So that was the trap out there, and I think Tiffany Shepis, what was it, the camera, or no, he was I forget what position he was, but he was like with her, and she was saying how she was pregnant and that she was trying to get out of there, and she ends up, of course, drowning, unfortunately. And he got I guess he started to run out because he was saying how, oh, I used to run track, and they're like, yeah, you're not in high school anymore. And
I'll pretend there's donuts, but yeah, that was Brian Quinn. I'm pretty sure it was sound guy because he mic'd up.
Yeah,
Andrew.
I think the other guy was like the PA, the one that got off the or blew out the window. But so, and he got his, Victor Crowley was standing on top of the plane and axes him across and pretty much like scalps him there. And what's funny is I think didn't it fall on Tiffany Shepard's face like the top of the
sky.
So they're on the plane and they're trying to figure out how to get out of there. Of course, unfortunately, Tiffany Shepard drowned. He was killed off as well. And Victor ended up stomping on Chloe at one point because they didn't come out. And Felissa Rose, wanted to get out of there, so she runs off with the phone. And I think that was before Chloe. I want to say I think I'm getting out of order on the deaths there, but when she had run out because she couldn't stay on there anymore, gets her arm ripped off, shoved between her legs, up inside her, comes out of her mouth, and that's what
it was called in the script apparently, because I watched the Just Joe Bob of this, and they said it was called the ultimate fisting.
yeah, ultimate fisting. Yeah, pretty much. I like when she was trying to get the phone. They're like, and the ex-wife of Andrew was like, "Oh," she's like, "It was up inside her," like, like, ah. And Rose is all like, "Trying to have signal," and she was dumb though. Like the signal wasn't going out, but they were like saying, "Oh, next time it rings, answer it and say you need help."
But yeah, I just remembered one thing. It's a little bit further back. I don't think you mentioned it, but when Tiffany Shepard is pinned down there and she's asking for Brian Rose, where's that? Brian Quinn's character. I forget his name in the film, but she's asking for him, and Dylan's like, "I'm sorry, that person is dead." So she starts crying, and then
he's like, "I'm right here."
Up. He goes, "I'm not dead, asshole." He goes, "But I saw legs. I didn't know."
He's like, "He's not dead." He's like, "I'm right here. He's not dead. He's alive." That was a good line.
And then he stands up and he gets confronted. He goes, "I saw legs. I don't know."
Yeah. And of course, he tries to play it cool and go up to the cockpit. And when they find out that Power's still on the plane, to try to contact anyone for help.
Yeah, he was a captain and a general, and I don't remember. And they tell him to get off the line because they think he's just goofing.
They think he's joking around.
Especially, he's calling himself all these things, and then he's saying, Victor Crowley's out there, so they're like, "Get out of here."
Yeah, whatever. No one believes him. So yeah, let's see. I forgot where I was going after because you went back to that line, but yeah, that was a good line.
Yeah.
There was a point where they were trying to get off the plane, and I think they did get off the plane. They got off the plane.
Yeah, they got off the plane.
Yeah. And they're like, who was it that got killed off next? I'm trying to remember. Because we got died.
I think it's Dylan.
His was kind of a suicidal rescue because they were fighting, and he wanted to turn on the jet.
He gets the jet engine on because his idea, to get Victor Crowley through the jet engine, because you've ever seen a bird go, is like he said, you ever see a bird go, they go poof. So he wanted to get Victor Crowley into the jet engine because they only had one engine, so they get that going. Yeah. And then when they get outside, I'm pretty sure it's just, by that point, it's just Andrew, Rose,
and it's like when they're fighting them at that in front of the plane jet, and she even takes the hatchet, and she's like, "Though I'm small and mighty," she tries to throw the hatchet.
Well, the ex-wife gets killed. I don't think we covered that one. The ex-wife, because she steals the phone away from Rose, because at that they run away from the plane,
and she takes the phone herself.
They hear the jet engine go on. And so Rose goes up a tree and stays quiet while Victor Crowley's trying to find her in the bushes. And then I think the phone goes off and he hears that. So he goes and kills the ex-wife. Yeah. And then Rose, since she hears the jet engine, she goes back to the plane. And then that's when we have Dylan, Rose, and what was his name? Andrew.
Yeah.
All in there. And so Andrew first knocks him and he gets him right on the edge. He's like, "Oh, come on!" So I think he hits him.
Well, before that, he was going to shoot like a flare at him or whatever, and he
misses. So the first one hits.
Rose throws the hatchet and misses, and then he misses with that. And Victor's just still standing there. So
and they all just kind of look back and watch.
Yeah, and then he gets him, and he thinks he's going to push him, but he almost gets him there, and he's still like
Yeah, he's
holding
like
on.
holding on to that for dear life on the edge. So Dylan goes, I would have had your babies, and boops her on the nose.
And then he just runs in and pushes him. I don't see why he went. I mean, that's so stupid. Like he probably like at the force he could have just knocked him in himself. I don't know why he dove in, but
Right.
he dove head first into the wood chipper. Tucker Dale. Well, he dove head first into the jet propeller. And of course, she's screaming, and then all the blood's coming out on her.
Right.
So what a way to go. Dylan's no longer chilling. Dylan killed the villain.
Right. And then, like I said, I was watching the Joe Bob thing. They apparently filmed Victor Crowley in secret. So, of course, nobody knew about it till, like you said, he surprised everybody.
Yep.
And I remember Joe Bob making a crack. It's like, how'd you keep that secret with Felicia on there? And then apparently the first Hatchet originally had an NC-17 rating, so he had to really kind of fight for the ratings.
Yep.
Then he had problems with the second one as well. The AMC basically told him it could be uncut, whatever. And they advertised it for that for the longest time. And then they told him before it was supposed to be released to stop advertising it like that.
Yeah.
And I think that's about all the notes I got from it. It was a lot of good tips to because they had like a slumber party, so it was all chilling. It was so if anybody has Shudder, the movie's not on Shudder anymore, but they do have a section of just Joe Bob, so you can watch all the little bits where they talk about it. So Adam Green is on there, Felicia, Tiffany Shepis, and Kane Hodder are all in there. Oh, another little tidbit is the island that Kane grew up in. I forget the name of it. I forgot to write it down. But he said that there's like little secrets in the movies. But the main one, it's like the airplane was named after the island that Kane grew up on. I forget the name of it off the top of my head, but
and of course, Andrew is like one of the only survivors. Again, they're like, oh yeah, oh. So people, of course, oh, here we go again, another survivor. That's
right. Well, at least Rose made it too.
And we see, and through the credits there, then we see, which I wish they would have done another one. I don't know if they still will or who knows, but we see Danielle Harris as Mary Beth watching the news, and she's like, I've been waiting for you, motherfucker. So who knows if there'll be another one or not, but
right. Well, when they did the Joe Bob thing, Joe Bob asked, well, if there would be another one, what would it be called? Would it be called Victor Crowley 2, or would it be called Hatchet 5? And Adam said that it would be probably called Hatchet 5. So if there would be another one, it would, be Hatchet 5. At least that as the time of the filming of that Joe Bob episode. Of course, things could change by then.
Yeah.
Maybe he was planning something and then COVID hit and he wasn't able to pull it off. So
yeah, who knows? That would be great if he got another one done.
Right.
Even if it's the last one, because you can't end it like that though. I'm like, come on, you gotta stand waiting for you. And then like, that's how you end it. We love you, Adam, but you bastard.
Yeah, he's so great. Well, the only movies I really know are these movies and of course Frozen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Frozen's amazing. And I don't think I know. I have to look at his movies. I don't think I know. I know there's another one a lot of people talk about.
Digging Up the Mail is a good one.
I haven't seen that, but I see a lot of people talk about it.
It's kind of like a mockumentary on monsters, and he goes, Ray Weiss, I forget the name of his character. You can let me know when you look it up, but he's like a monster hunter. He tells them where there's these monsters that are like coming up through this place called the Marrow, and yeah, it's interesting.
Apparently, he did a segment on the Chillerama.
Yeah, he did Chillerama. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Diary of Anne Frankenstein.
Anne Frankenstein. Yeah, you saw? Didn't you see Chillerama? Did you watch that?
I did watch it, but it was a long time ago, and I don't. It was probably about the time it came out. Probably whenever it was rentable. because
Okay.
at the time we had video stores. So it says it came out in 2011. So it's been a minute since I've seen it. Yeah, Digging Up the Marrow came out in 2014. I've heard a lot of people, let's say, talk about it, but I've never seen it, so I don't know.
Yeah.
And apparently he's got a podcast. I don't know if it's still going, but they was talking about it on the Joe Bob episode that he's got a podcast.
The movie Crypt. Yeah. And I know he always does these Halloween shorts every year. You can watch them on his website, Aeroscope. I'm pretty sure they're still on there. I haven't been on there. Actually, I should check because I don't know if he's. They don't come out till October, but he might like be working on it now or something. But there's like some really funny skits that he does every year for Halloween.
Nice.
Like he did the one that Kane Hodder played Michael Myers, and he's driving because the question is, how did he learn to drive? You know, in the Halloween. And so they show it. He's like, oh, what did he get up and drive? The plane was named K331 with I'm probably saying the name wrong, and that's the island King grew up on. 33 in the plane's name is the date of Adam Green's birthday.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what they was talking about, that Joe Bob show. I just couldn't remember the name of the island, and I don't want to mispronounce it, but yeah. It's like Kowaljan or something like, I don't know.
Yeah, sorry.
I know I'm gonna say it wrong, so I don't know if
well,
no matter if I knew the pronunciation or not, I'd probably still say it wrong. And it looks like he had a short in 2020 called Full Size, but I don't know.
Full size? I thought it was Fun Size. Full size?
According to IMDb, it's called Full Size.
Full size. I'll have to see what that is. Why am I thinking? Oh, there is. I think I did see a horror anthology on somewhere called Fun Size, and that's probably.
I was just looking at the IMDb of this short. His dog has an IMDb credit, and it has his last name, Arwen Green. That's so cute.
Yeah. Well, it even says for the Hatchet, or I'm sorry, the Victor Crowley, the woman that has the dog, it says Arwen as himself.
Nice.
But Arwen, it's like, dang, Arwen's got an Internet Movie Database page.
Apparently he does. He don't have a picture, but he's got a credit, at least for the short. If he says probably on the Victor Crowley as well, let's take a look. Because the computer's a little bit different than my phone version, so I don't know if I will find it on here.
What does Full Size say? The COVID-19 pandemic may have ruined trick-or-treating for most people in 2020, but All Hallows Eve can never be canceled.
Yep, Arwen Green's self is in IMDb for Victor Crowley. Let's just pull up Arwen's.
I wonder if that's on Aeroscope Full Size, because that's a short, and he has a bunch of his short. And he also has that scary sleepover that he did. I know that's on his website. He had Sid Haig come over one time. He had Danielle Harris. I forget who else. He had a bunch of people.
Yeah, they were talking about it. I've never seen it, but they were talking about it on the Joe Bob, because Joe Bob had mentioned that they was kind of stealing this idea because they were having a scary sleepover and they had all their pajamas on, and supposedly he was bringing it up because he acted like he didn't know about it, but it's usually planned ahead, so he probably already knew about it. Was the way to segue, because of course a lot of people kind of hate on Joe Bob, but it's like his character. It's not his real life.
Yeah, of course. Oh yeah, I forgot he did Spiral. That was good. And Joel was in that one also. Joel David Moore.
And that's a different Spiral.
Yeah, not Spiral like Saw.
Right.
A recluse.
I just figured I'd mention that for people who didn't know or be listening later.
Yeah, and just hear Spiral and be like, what? But yeah, that was a good one.
Green did Spiral with Chris Rock? No. I think it was a short, wasn't it?
No, it was a movie.
Oh, was it a movie?
Yeah. I actually, at Spooky Empire, when Adam Green was there, I actually won a copy of it, and he signed it. So,
oh, okay. I see it. It was 2007. This says /I. on. I don't know what that means.
It's a drama thriller. A recluse telemarket at an office where his boss is his only friend as he befriends a new social colleague and sketches paints slash painter. His dark mind surfaces. I gotta watch it again. It's been a while. Let's see. So yeah, that's all that's like listed there. He also did. He wasn't in every one, but he was the creator of like shorts called Horrified, where different actors would tell like a story that happened to them, true stories. Some of them would be like sort of embarrassing stuff. Some would be a little over exaggerated. I don't really remember what there were so many of them, but they would just talk about their self. Corey English hosted it, and then there were different actors that were in it. Oh, Rachel Lee Cook was in one. Bree Grant, Adam Green did one of himself. Jordan Ladd, Jeff Lewis, Joe Lynch, of course. Tyler Main did an episode. They weren't that long. They were like maybe 7 minutes or something, or if that. They were just stories about their life. But they should probably be on Aeroscope website if they're still on there. I haven't been to that website in a while. But I'm assuming it's still up and has all the Halloween shorts on there. And you can order, I was saying before you came on that you can get the Hatchet comic books, the Holliston comic books. And I'm pretty sure he's still, whenever you buy them, he'll sign them for you when you buy them through his website. So, but yeah, Adam's awesome.
Yeah.
When he was at Spooky Empire and he was talking about, like he doesn't charge for his autograph. Like if you have something or if you bought something like of his, like there's no extra cost. It's just straight out $15, $20, like depending on what it was at the time, you know. But he was saying it was great because during the panel, he was like, he's like, other guests, I mean, he doesn't judge them, do what you got to do. But he goes, but we will never charge for a fucking, or I will never charge for a fucking autograph. So, which was really cool of him. He really appreciates his fans.
Yeah, he seems like it. I don't really know him that well, unfortunately. But yeah, he seems really cool. What I've seen of him.
Yeah. Yeah, I met
Which ain't a lot, to be honest. I say the only movies I know of his, of course, are the Hatchets and Frozen. So,
yeah.
And then what I saw of him on the Joe Bob segment, so he seems like a really down to earth guy.
Yeah, I was like, it kind of sucked for him because there weren't that many people, but it was cool for me because I got to hang out with him, Corey, Laura, and Joe. The very first Walker Stalker Con. I don't know if they're doing it anymore. I haven't seen.
I'm not sure.
But they were told that it was a horror convention, and it turned out to be a Walking Dead convention. So they're like the only people there that's like thinking it's a horror.
That's the one I went to because I went to a Walker Stalker Con. I don't think it was one of the first ones though.
Okay,
let me look at the year. I'll have to pull up my pictures of them, but I can do that while I'm talking.
But yeah, and so Andrew Lincoln was there, and like when his panel was like freaking packed to the back wall, you know,
I imagine.
And then the Halston cast was next. There was like 2 rows. I got to sit in the front row. I felt so bad, and people didn't know they were there, and they were like in this back corner, totally separate from the Walking Dead people. Like if you went that far back or whatever, and I actually told a few people about them being there and brought them over, and Corey, she was the only one that I hadn't met because I think she had had her baby at the time or was pregnant, and she couldn't go to Orlando for whatever reason, and it was just Dave Brocky, who has passed away from Gore, who was Odorous Urungus. So I'm glad I got to meet him, and I actually got a picture with him in the Gore, in the Odorous outfit, and then just him as Dave Brocky. So that's pretty cool that I actually got 2 pictures of him out of costume. And but yeah, so I met them, and I met Dee Snider a few times. But I was really hoping Corey would be there because just before, like, I hadn't heard of Holliston at first. It used to be on Chiller, I think, when that channel was still on, and then they switched it, and I don't remember. But I told him how I had just seen the first couple episodes prior to meeting them, and I'm like, awesome show. or maybe it was a month before I met them. I just got because they were announced, and then I was like, oh, who are they? And I looked them up, and I was hooked on Holliston since. And I was hoping to meet Corey. And actually, when I went to Walker Stalker, I mean, yeah, they had some good Walking Dead people, but I was really looking forward to meeting Corey. And I had even told her that, and she's like, "Hey, we're looking forward to meeting you." I'm like, "Yeah, I love Holliston," and I was, disappointed you couldn't make it to Orlando. And she's, just talking about how she had her baby and all that, and that she wanted to come but couldn't make it. And and that was the year. They were okay, thankfully, but at the airport, I guess there was a shooting or something, and they were stalled on the plane, so they weren't there the first day. They were there the second and third day, and yeah, Danielle was there, and I had asked what happened or why they weren't there, and she's like, "Oh, you didn't hear about the shooting?" And she told me, she goes, "They're all fine, but yeah, they got delayed, and so they just had to sit in the plane, and they didn't leave, and they got stuck there." So that was a scary experience there, and Corey was telling me about. She's like, "Yeah, I was really freaky, like I didn't know what was going on." And
I can imagine. But yeah, I just looked up the first con. Apparently was in Atlanta, and it was in 2013. And
yeah.
I went to the one that was in Chicago in 2015. So
Okay.
I'd went a few years later.
Yeah, but if you look up, I'm pretty sure I mentioned it before a while back ago. But if you look up Holliston Walker Stalker Con, you'll see me and this other girl who went on stage, and they did like a Holliston live episode, and we had a couple of lines. We were a part of it there, and
Oh, nice.
yeah. So you see me sitting at the table, and they're on the couch, and they're talking about going to a convention, and that's like the live show that they did, and it was like maybe about 30 minutes. And
Is that on your YouTube or?
it's not on my YouTube. Actually, I should probably like favorite and put it on my playlist. Is what I should do. I don't know why I've
Yeah,
never
there you
done
go.
that. I don't know why I've never put it on my playlist, but I think it was Hollis. Type in Holliston Walker Stalker. Let me see, Holliston. But it was funny. Danielle Harris came on, Kane Hodder, and Kane was hilarious because they did that. How he was replaced in Freddy vs. Jason, and he's like, oh, like he freaks out, like, no, he was replaced in Freddy vs. Jason, and then they were talking about his books or talking about him writing. He's like, I write things goodly.
Yeah, Kane's great.
Yeah, he's really funny. Like
We saw him. I forget what con it was called. I think it was Mad Mobs. Yeah, Mad Monster. Well, they called it Mobster and Monster, so they was flipping between names. I think it was in a changing process. But he was there, and he had dressed up in Jason Seven's makeup, and he was also there out of makeup as well. And they also, I think, had I want to say it was autobiography. They had this writer dude with them that also helped him with like this TV show. It was like I Killer or something like that. And it was I had the disc around here somewhere. It's actually quite funny if you ever come across it. I think it's called I Killer, and we was only there for one day, and somebody, I forget who it was, but somebody had told us that Kane wasn't going to do um, signatures that day. So we had actually seen him right before he was going to go up on a panel, and we sat next to him, and of course didn't have a pen with us, but we was like, we was told by somebody that you wasn't going to be here like the next day. Did you mind like signing our stuff? He's like, yeah, sure. You got a pen? I was like, oh, sorry, we don't have one. And then so he decided when he went up on the panel that he made an announcement that he was going to sign stuff after. He goes, I don't know why people are saying I'm not signing stuff. I'm going to sign stuff. So I thought that was pretty cool that he made. I don't know if it was somebody in his group or somebody part of the con or just some random person. I don't really know, but somebody had told us that he wasn't going to sign stuff. And I was like, well, that's sucks because we're here for one day. We're going getting the hell out of Chicago.
Yeah, I found it, which I guess I'll have to favorite to my playlist, but it's listed as Holliston panel script reading Walker Stalker Con 8 years ago. She had posted it. Someone named Kim Powell posted it. It's 20 minutes and 46 seconds. But it's funny because besides our few little lines, um, and poor Laura, she was sick. That we like, she barely lost her voice or could talk. Like, you know how she sounds, like how she talk, like she has that high pitched voice. I felt so bad for her, but so Kane came on, Danielle Harris, and Zach Galligan came on also, part of the script, which was really funny. I like how Emma Bell was supposed to be there, who was in Frozen, and she canceled for whatever reason. And part of the lines, it was funny because Joe was like, Emma Bell will be there because she was supposed to be written into the soup, and he's like, right. Because she didn't show up. His reaction was so funny, and it was great because they were in the back, and since like I said, I got to hang out with them a lot because there weren't a lot of people, but I told them that I did bring a few people over, so I'd let people know they were there. And but what was funny was at the party, if you see Holliston, they do a dance in an episode called Kevin's Wedding, where Corey gets all drunk while she's there, and her and Adam do like a really funny dance. And she actually, her and Adam did that dance while they were at the party. Like, oh, how did that go? Because I was just joking around. Then they started doing the dance. It was like, yes, they're doing a Holliston drunk dance. they were so much fun. And I had a California root beer as my drink, and I told Laura what it was, and she's like, "Ooh, that sounds better than mine."
What is? I've never heard of a California root beer.
Well, instead of using beer, I didn't use beer, or I just but it tastes like a root beer. It's Kahlua. Oh shit, what else is in it? I forget the ingredients. I have to look at. I haven't had any in a while, but they call it a California root beer. And but yeah, it was just so funny though, her reaction.
I could swear I turned that down. Apparently, I failed.
But she was so funny. Just the way she said it, because like I said, she has that high pitched voice, and she's just like, "Ooh, that sounds better than mine." Oh, and then there was a market that there was another Holliston joke that was brought up. It was funny. We were talking. There was like a marketplace, and I'm like, "Oh, like a market basket," because Laura couldn't say market basket, and they turned it into a whole joke on Holliston. And I was like, "Is there a market basket?" And she's like, "I know." I'm like, "I'm sorry." That just reminds me of that episode. And she's like, Laura was really having trouble saying that too. And I'm like, wow.
Okay, what are the ingredients of a California root beer? Okay, it has 40 milliliters of Russian standard vodka, 20 milliliters of Kahlua, 30 milliliters of whatever the fuck this is, Gallinio.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah.
And so it just says soda water. It doesn't say how much.
Yeah. You can also, I know some people have put like beer in it, but I don't like beer. So, but
yeah.
Soda water. But like with those ingredients together, it actually tastes like a root beer though. The sweetness.
Nice. And I can actually have it because I can't have gin. So I have to be careful with my drinks, but I haven't drank in so long.
Yeah.
I'd probably get drunk off one drink.
Like it's like drinking a root beer, like you wouldn't even know. Like it doesn't even taste like alcohol. You could get drunk.
Nice. Those are the best drinks. Well, they can be. They can get you messed up quick.
Yeah. The ones with flavor, it's like, you got to remember now, it is alcohol.
Right, yeah. Because I used to drink tequila. Well, for a while I was drinking Amarillo Stone Sour, and then I got tired of them. I started drinking tequila sunrises. Those are good. And then I don't remember. Then we had this one thing that was called a bombsicle. It was like UV blue and lemonade mixed together. Oh my god! Those red, white, and blue popsicles.
Yeah,
taste just like them. Get some UV blue, mix it with lemonade. Oh my god, it's so good. I don't even know. I guess they still. Like I said, I'm drinking forever, so I don't even know if there's such a thing as UV blue anymore.
Yeah. Like I said, I usually only drink at conventions. I'm not that much of a big drinker, but
shit, I didn't even drink at my wedding. I barely ate because it was just like so much chaos. Because we just had like it's gonna sound odd, but we had like a pizza buffet because the place we had it at, we didn't have it at a church. We had it at this place that had like a hall that you can rent, and because we couldn't find a church that would allow us to do what we wanted to do, so we had it at this convention hall and just had the reception and everything there. And they also owned a restaurant and a bar, which were connecting doors. So we also ordered food from them. And if anybody wanted a drink, they could go next door to the bar. You didn't even have to go outside. You could go right through a door and get what you wanted. So we just ordered the pizza from there and they brought it out. And so I barely even got to eat because it was just apparently my grandpa was being rude. I got told about it later. Apparently my grandpa was being rude to people, so I was like trying to deal with stuff like that.
Right. Yeah. Oh boy, good times though. Yeah, I usually like I said that last time, which lasted a long time, but I had that fireball that I had gotten. But usually I just end up getting drinks from people, and I'm there. Like I've met some people, they had some Jello shots, so I'm like, fuck it, have some Jello shots and whatever.
God, I've had some Jello shots. A friend of mine she's a lot younger than me, turned 21, and we all just kind of stayed at her house, and she was obviously celebrating being 21. There's really funny stories with that, but I won't embarrass her. But yeah, we all went to sleep. It was like we all slept in the living room so we could all be together. And me and another friend of ours, he's gay, but we was laying on the floor. And this is kind of relevant that he's gay. I'm just not bringing it up for no reason. But we're laying on the floor together, and I think there's people on the couch, whatever. And he woke up thinking that we slept together. It's like, no, honey, you're still gay. You're good.
Oh my god, I thought I woke up straight. Oh.
Yeah, it was fun. I was like the oldest.
Like, I go to bed and I wake up gay. What? Wait, no, I'm not gay.
Yeah, he was so drunk he thought he became straight.
That's funny. Oh boy.
Yeah, interesting times, but God, it's been forever since I drank. And hell, we got a bottle of vodka here, but I've never drank it. He got it to like clean something off his vape or some shit. I don't know. And then we got several bottles of wine that we got from like either before the wedding or at the wedding. So I got one bottle as a gift from the wedding. It's really cool. It's one of those living label wines that you have this app on your phone that you hold it up and the label comes to life. It's a Walking Dead wine. But yeah, we've been married 4 years now, I think. So it's like 4 years old. At least.
Well, isn't stuff supposed to get better as it ages?
I would assume, but I don't know how. It's usually like the expensive wines like that. I mean, some of the wines it'll turn into hooch, he says. I guess I should maybe crack one open, maybe. I don't know. I don't know how much quality the ones with the living label have. But the other ones are probably trash, to be honest. Because they were just some cheap ones. They used to do quarter auctions. And would just won them. So God knows. I got this. I left it back at my parents' house. I got this huge ass bottle of pineapple vodka. It's probably definitely no good now. It's probably good, almost 10 years old now. But it's just been sitting there. It's this big, bright yellow alcohol. It doesn't look good at all. I got it for free, so I guess technically a quarter.
Yeah, no. All right. So Tuesday, doing a special show at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I guess 1 o'clock for you. Aviana Snow, who's in the upcoming movie How to Kill Monsters, which we had both Lindsay Cranon and Stuart Spark, who did the Book of Monsters, and he's doing this one, and Lindsay is going to be on it as well. They are doing the Kickstarter, so we'll be talking about that and helping promote that. They did say probably later on they'll come back on again and talk about it also. So figure out a
Nice.
date on that. But they both said they would love to come back. So we'll hear more details from the director himself. So, but until then, we got Aviana coming on. I'm gonna double check, but probably Thursday. Lou Taylor will come on 7 o'clock. We'll see. So I got to message him back.
This Thursday or
26th,
coming
the 22nd. Yeah.
22nd? Okay.
Hopefully. So I'm going to message him tomorrow and make sure we're still on for that, because last message to him, he goes, we'll try for that. So I don't know, after a few times here, I mean, I still want him to come on. So,
right.
So
I got almost all his stuff done. So hopefully I'll get as much as I could get of the other person's done before Tuesday.
Yeah.
It's going to be hard, but I'll get what I can. I'll probably be able to watch like a couple movies of hers.
Yeah. And then we'll be talking about, of course, the How to Kill Monsters. So we'll have enough to watch there. Probably watch I'm halfway done. I was tired last night. It was good. I'm not saying it was bad, but I started watching the Lockdown Hauntings. Interesting. Tony Todd is like a paranormal person talking about it on like an app that people are watching, and it's in when I did my promo video, the test video today, I was talking to her a little bit prior and then after for like 20 minutes. She was really nice to talk to, and she was asking about me and my job and where I'm from, and we were just talking for a little bit, and she's excited to come on. But she was saying how that was actually filmed during COVID. It was a real lockdown when they filmed that.
Nice.
So I was like, oh, that's an interesting fact. So of course, she'll go into all that detail, but I just found that interesting. I thought I'd share that anyway. No big deal. Nothing too much. A little tease of what's to come. And it is on Tubi, so if anyone wants to watch the Lockdown Hauntings, I think a couple of other movies might have been too. I'm not sure.
But... Yeah, the Blood Spirit,
mm-hmm.
And hang on, let me pull up her notes because I have where they're streaming in my notes. Vampire Virus is on Tubi. Blood Spirit is on Tubi. The Tombs, The Seven, Dangerous Game, and Bad Caller are on Tubi.
Bad Caller's on there? Okay. Well, where'd my good pen go?
She's got a part in Time to Dance that's on Netflix. The Convent is on Plex. And there's a movie called Guest in London. It looks like she's got a small part in that. It's just called Colleague Number 5. That's on Hulu. That's all the ones that I was able to find streaming where I was able to watch them. But
okay. Was The Hollow on any of those, or you didn't see that one?
I did not see that one. Let me look at my phone here because it will actually tell me where it's streaming. I don't know why it's different on my phone than it is. Either that or I haven't figured out where to find it on the computer.
Right.
Probably more likely. See, what's called the Hollow. It says it's on Prime, but it says it's $4.99.
Okay, probably.
So you have to pay for it. It is technically on Prime, but it's not free to watch.
So you can rent it on Prime,
right? And it looks like the Lockdown Hauntings is not free to watch anywhere. According to this,
I just watched it on Tubi. The Lockdown Hauntings is on Tubi.
Let me look here,
because that's where I was watching it on Tubi.
Because on here it's not showing it's streaming anywhere. So let me see.
I promise you, though, it is on Tubi because
well, it does not list it. Okay. That is weird.
I might look up the Hollow on Tubi just for the heck of it, just to see if it does come up. Because I mean, if the lockdown hauntings is coming up, and
Yeah, it doesn't say it's streaming anywhere on IMDb, and usually it will tell me where it's streaming at.
Yeah. Let me just type in Hollow, see what comes up. Is it called The Hollow or just Hollow? I think
Just
it's
Hollow.
Just Hollow. Okay. Four friends on vacation in a quaint English village. Yeah, it's on Tubi.
Hmm.
Let me just
I wonder why it only tells me it's on Prime, but you got to pay.
um, let me just look it up, make sure. I mean, that sounds like that would be the movie. It says English village, and she is, English. She lives in the UK. So Emily.
I'll look in a second. I'm typing. Hope if I spell hollow right.
The Holler. I'm just kidding.
What? No, I don't want to play. No, stop.
Actually, what I can do is just look up her name. And then I can click on the Hollow through her Internet Movie Data page. I don't know if that's the same one. Well, no, that says 2011. This says 21. A series of gruesome killings is shaking heads or Hertfordshire. Beth, a mother in her 60s, is showing signs of early Alzheimer.
And the picture looks different as
And
well.
and the picture is different, yeah.
So yeah, I don't think that's the same Hollow.
No, that's a different one. Darn, I was going to say that's cool. Is there any other Hollow on there? No, I guess it's not on Tubi. I lied. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's all right. Well, at least you found the lockdown hauntings, because according to what I was looking up, I wouldn't have been able to watch it because I didn't know it was on Tubi.
Yeah, I mean, because that's where I was watching it. That I'm pretty sure. Let's see, lockdown. Let me just type it in real quick. But
yeah, I double checked it. It's on Tubi.
Okay, so yeah, see,
yeah, I got Tubi pulled up on the computer and typed it in, and it was definitely the same art.
Yeah, it is with Tony Todd. Yeah. So okay, too bad the Hollow's not on there. Okay, so you gotta rent the Hollow if you want to see that, but whatever. I might find it somewhere. I'll look, but if not, I'll just watch the other couple ones. So I'm interested in talking about how to kill monsters, though. Get a little
right
tease about that. They do have like a little teaser trailer on if you go to their Kickstarter, and they got a trailer of it. It's pretty funny of what they have so far. So, but all right, but I guess that's it. So that's the news for Tuesday's show, and possibly Thursday. I'm gonna double check with them tomorrow. Hopefully, it's still on. Maybe by next year we'll have him on. Maybe he'll be our 100th episode special guest.
Yeah, that'd be great.
But either way, so.
And what number are we on now?
74, I want to say 75. I think she's going to be 75. I forget what I put on there, but yeah.
Yeah, it says 75 on the title. I just flipped over to look.
Thank you. Okay, so she'll be episode 76 Tuesday.
Cool.
So, wow, 24 away from the big 100. So,
Yeah, I'm sure he's just busy.
Yeah,
He's had to get called for work, so
yeah,
must be filming something, I presume. I
yeah,
don't think I think he's popular enough that he wouldn't have a regular job. So I
yeah.
would assume anyway. I could be totally wrong, but I could be
Anyway.
blinded by the Evil Dead. And this.
I'm blinded by Evil Dead. I know you're ready to talk about that for sure. That's like the main. Yes, Evil Dead.
Oh, interesting. I just happened to see this. Apparently, Stephen Lang, he was in Don't Breathe
Don't
and
breathe. Yeah.
VFW, returns in what looks like a Don't Breathe spin-off thriller called Old Man Movie coming October 14th.
This year?
And,
Oh,
yeah, I just saw it just now. It's interesting.
that's the first I've heard of that. Like, where is that
Yeah.
news? Like,
If you look on Cinema Marvelous, it's an entertainment website.
I mean,
I
like
just
besides that website, like I mean, I thought you would think something like that would have been more news and announcements,
I don't know. I just seen it, so maybe it just got
or it
announced.
might be announced. Maybe now.
It has a hashtag
No, it's called Old Man.
called Old Man Movie is what it's called.
Hmm. Interesting. I saw that there is Saw 10 is going to be coming out next year.
Yeah. It looks like it's got a trailer.
Oh, I'll have to watch that trailer once we end the show.
Oh, come on, you stupid mouse. Cooperate. Here, I'll share it. The trailer will be on my news feed, so you can find it.
Okay, cool. And anyone
I'm
else
trying to
wants
find something like Bloody Disgusting or Eye Horror, but all I'm seeing is random people I've never heard of. There's a page called Horror Fuel that's talking about it. I don't know how reliable they are. Let's see, the first time somebody talked about it, at least according to my Facebook search, was some random person I've never heard of. They might not be random, I don't know. But it was on September 15th. Who is this dude? Don't know. Some random dude, as far as I could tell. But yeah, I don't see anything like eye horror or so maybe it is fan made, but there is a trailer. So I don't know.
We'll have to look at the trailer, see if it's real or whatever.
Right, yeah.
If it's real, that would be awesome. I hate that where they had like where people make fake trailers and then you watch it. It's like, what the hell is this?
I mean, it doesn't look like it's from any other movie. Let's see. Old Man Movie. Search YouTube. Movie trailer source. It's verified, has a trailer to it. So it's looking.
What the hell?
This is official trailer.
Again. I had already blocked that bot. How to get back in here?
I got back. Go away.
And I blocked the user before block. There we go. It says find love in your town today. Okay, they were blocked. There, yeah. But anyway, yep, I guess that's it. So thanks to everyone who watched, listening, whether you're listening on Spotify, Apple, whatever, or just catching the replay. And we'll be back Tuesday at 2:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So have a good night.
Bye.
Bye. And woof woof.